Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 524 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever, and coming up on the show, we'll be finding out about the story of Guitar Heroes, which heads into the area very soon, having a chat with Simon Archer all about Bilson in Bloom. The judging takes place this week. Also, we'll be finding out about Spring Awakening, which comes to Lichfield a little bit later on this year, and we'll be having some fantastic music from various artists throughout the show. But before all of that, we did a Facebook Live with one of the cast from Educating Rita, half of them in fact. Stephen Tompkinson had a bit of a chat with me, and this is what happened when we were having a little word or two on stage at the Grand Theatre. Welcome to the stage of Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre, aka Dr. Frank Bryant's office. He is here with me now in the shape of Stephen Tompkinson. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Good evening.
Good to have you here.
It's lovely to be here.
I mean, it's a lovely set to begin with, isn't it?
It is. It's gorgeous. It does become a home from home, as it were. And study.
You're sat behind your desk, and obviously it's battered and well loved, and the set designers just really have done a great job with it. And we're loving the rotary telephone, which probably means nothing to many of the audience.
Well, exactly. Yes, it'd be new to some people. But yeah, it's very, and there's one very good little homage. Can I get up and move around?
You can move around.
Right, I'll show you something. Frank's teaching certificate.
Okay, whereabouts are we then?
Which is up here.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's up on the wall.
It is.
And
can you see we've got to sign it at the bottom?
Vice Chancellor and Chairman of the Academic Board, Michael Caine.
There you go.
That is quality. And
a little homage.
It is, and it must be quite daunting coming to a part that's so well loved and played by him in film.
Yes.
But having been a stage play first, I suppose you need to lay claim over it.
Yes. If most people have seen the film, but the play came first, absolutely,
mm-hmm.
and it's just the one setting for the play, and this is it,
mm-hmm.
and it's just the two characters, and you follow their academic year over 17 scenes, and it's amazing how involved the audience become.
Well, I'd not seen the film, and I now want to see the film, but I don't want to take away from your portrayal of Frank, because
there you go.
We know you. We know you very well. We've seen you on TV so much, normally as a vicar, strangely. But there seemed to be a theme there. But you know, it is great to get your teeth into a role like this, I'm going to guess.
Oh, it's lovely, yeah. And Willie wrote an amazing play, which is why it's lasted for 40 years. And I think we just wanted to remind people what a brilliant job he did then and why it's still relevant now.
And has he been involved in this production?
Yes, he was there every week of rehearsal from sort of Monday to Wednesday, and then he'd go away a bit and then come back. And he wasn't at all precious about his script. He realises that audiences have changed over the 40 years since he wrote it and don't need to be sort of spoon-fed as much information or have as much repetition as there used to be in the play. So we lost about 20 minutes.
Well, I like the references of the time, but still were relevant today. Things like Yeats's Wine Lodge coming in
yes.
there. I mean, that sort of stuff. And that really makes you feel as part of the show. Everything from the rotary telephone, which, of course, everyone still had in their home in the 80s and would have in office
along
like
with their telephone table.
Yes, well, that would be essential part
it
of furniture.
Would.
Completely gone there. You have a mounting thing to charge it on in the corner, don't you?
So it's not the same.
It's not, is it? But there are real books around us here, and they make up the whole set. Do we know how many there are? Has anyone counted?
I'm not sure in total. There's a good... I mean, I've managed to fill 3 tea chests full in record time, and I haven't even scratched the surface. But no, it's a lovely set, and it makes you feel ready for work as soon as you come onto it.
And from the opening moments, though, we see bottles appearing from everywhere. And
indeed.
We don't get the full hit of all of that until Frank's continuation throughout the show, and,
yes.
the way in which he sort of falls more into the world of alcohol. And that, it must be interesting to play. We see it as a bit of fun, but there is a really serious message behind all of this.
Well, yes, and Willie's clever enough to have him point out all his pitfalls, although he does it while talking about another play that Rita's gone to see, but he's echoing his own life and the tragedy of his own life. and that there are always warnings there in tragedy, but the character can't stop. They still go towards their own, and he's describing himself.
And with Jessica's role as Rita, Susan, however we name her, but the transition there, I mean, you get pretty much the same outfit throughout. There's not much of a change.
I have two changes of tie, a shirt change and well, I do have a jacket and trousers.
Yeah, there is a jacket, yeah.
But Jess is changing every scene. She's amazing, bless her.
And that, again, I think that progression is something which on stage feels more real than it would do in a film. You expect it in a film, but you don't necessarily expect it on stage.
No, it's great, and it rings the changes and the passage of time very well indeed, and her development as a character of how she's getting on this journey for self-enlightenment.
What surprised you most about playing the part?
Well, that I was the right age to play it suddenly. I'd been reading it since I was 14, so suddenly came back to it after meeting Jess up in Newcastle, and she was doing a play called Goth Weekend at Live Theatre in Newcastle, and I was re-rehearsing a production of Patrick Marber's The Red Lion before we transferred to London. And we met up, and I asked her what she'd been doing, and she said she played Rita before, but only for a week at the Gala Theatre in Durham, and she'd love to have a much bigger run at it, and she said, and you'd be a great Frank. So I went back to it, and yes, lo and behold, I'm now the right age that Willie describes. But I think the real challenge is keeping all of those 14 scenes very exciting. You know, you're aware that when you're in just the one set, that people get used to that very quickly, and it's just the two of you. So you've got to do your darndest to keep the ball in the air and keep all the themes that Willie intended going.
But this is where the chemistry comes in, and I think that works really well. It is completely believable.
Oh, well, I hope so, yeah.
It is completely believable.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen it, come and see it. Then
Very much.
But with, say, the intricacies of the set, with the intricacies of the characters, which do you think stands out, what bit stands out most for you?
Willie's writing.
This is a writing that
Absolutely, it's his writing. He said he wanted to make it, even though it's set in the world of academia, and which could be off-putting to some people, but he's made it accessible to everyone, and both characters are very autobiographical for him. He was a ladies' hairdresser himself for a number of years before he then went back into education, and then became a teacher as well before the writing started. So he was certainly writing about what he knew. And it's lovely. The journey's fascinating, and people don't pick sides. They go on the journey with both of them together, which is always lovely.
And questions coming through. I mean, James is saying, has the play evolved since the tour started back in April? I mean, have you seen any tweaks going on?
Well, little bits, yeah, because always with a comedy, when you're doing it's the audience that teach you where the laughs are, and when you can put your foot on the accelerator and on the brake. So yeah, we're constantly learning, and being that you only get a week in each, as soon as you just start to get used to one sort of type of audience, it all changes again. So yeah, you're always very much kept on your toes, and that's what makes it exciting.
And in university towns, do you see it a bit different as well? Because obviously the Open University is a global brand. I mean, people across the globe are studying with them, so it's something that's known. This play can travel, and they'll pick up on that sort of thing. But do you think do you get a different feel when there are students around the audience too?
Yeah, I mean, it's because the play's been on A-level syllabus for quite a while as well. So it's lovely that we get such a mixture in the audience, and that people have such empathy for both characters, and the unrequited love story as well is beautifully told. So it's a great development and a great journey that the two of them go from start to finish, and they're both very codependent on one another.
And you're grateful that you're the right age, I take it?
Yes, very, very. I've earned my stripes now.
Well, that's good. And what else is going on in your world at the moment? Because, I mean, theatre is obviously a big part of your life, and pretty much always has been.
Yes, and especially over the last year or so, I've been lucky enough to be involved with David Pugh and Dafford Rogers, our producers. We've done a couple of tours of art of late, interspersed with me being at the Old Vic and playing Scrooge in A Christmas Carol for Matthew Warchus.
Again, the age thing there, is that?
Again, yeah, what are they saying? And then, you know, I was performing art in the evening, rehearsing this during the day, so it's been a good 10 months of solid theatre with 3 amazing scripts and 3 very, very different parts. So it's the variety of the stuff that keeps me excited.
And how many times have you been to Wolverhampton?
Is this is the first.
I thought it may have been.
It's the first I've been to the Grand here, yeah. So and it's a beautiful theatre, it really is. And the audience last night were incredible.
I was part of that audience. We had a great time. I think it's what was on stage that helps. And it's one of the... Sometimes you worry to play whether you'd be able to hear it when there's no microphones, because microphones really wouldn't work with this, would it?
No, it's quite an intimate set. Mm-hmm.
But when you've got 2 actors who are used to theatre as well as appearing on set on screen, it works well, and so every word is audible.
Well, it's also a beautifully designed theatre for the acoustic, so every level hears everything at the same time, and you can tell when the audience are with you and they're not struggling for, to pick up anything you're saying. So it's very nice.
What else do you take away from this?
Well, we'd be happy to play more theatres with it if David wants to have another go at it next year. I think we've set out what we wanted to achieve, reminding people what a great play that Willie wrote. Jess and I are very much in the groove in terms of trusting one another and really enjoying the playing against and off one another as well. And it's been a delightful job. I shall be very sad when it ends, but as I say, maybe there might be some more dates next year.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We have you right the way through until the 13th of July here at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre. Is this coming Saturday? 01902 429212 is the box office number. grandtheatre.co.uk to get your tickets online. But loads of lovely comments coming through. Kate Christie saying she always wanted to see you live and was not disappointed. So
thank you very much.
Wave to Kate, please.
Thank you, Kate.
There we go. That's especially for you. And there's general reaction saying how great the play was and everybody loving it, which is understandable. As I say, come along, get your tickets. You've got until Saturday. Stephen, thank you for having another chat.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Time for some new music now. This is Sun Goes Down from Aaron Drift.
Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me what you feel. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me for how long you know. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me what you feel. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me what you feel.
Aaron Drift with Sun Goes Down here on the Milk Bar. Let Me In are producing Spring Awakening at St Mary's in Lichfield. It runs from the 7th to the 10th of August, and I have 4 of the cast with me now. We have Lucy, Helen, Chris and Joe. Hi gang!
Hello.
Right, where should we start? I think Chris, we have to start with you, because you're quite involved in this company, aren't you?
Just a little bit, yeah. Myself and a man called Martin Pritchard kind of came up with the idea of Let Me In Productions around about a year ago now. Mainly kind of born out of a kind of passion for both of us and a kind of desire to do something a little bit different. We know there's a lot of kind of amateur dramatic groups around Lichfield, and we've all taken inspiration from them, taken most of the cast from them as well.
People move between so many different groups and appear in so many shows.
That's it. So yeah, we decided we wanted to do something very different, something much more intimate. The capacity for this is only 120 people each night, which for quite an intense, full-on musical is going to be nice and intimate for everyone in the audience. So yeah, we wanted to do something very different. We wanted to bring in a lot of people we trust and that we know will embrace what we wanted to do, and Let Me In was born from that. So very, very excited.
Well, I mean, it's great to see a group coming together, and a youthful group. It has to be for this production, because we're in Germany in the 19th century, 1890s, and it's really about adolescents discovering themselves, and that's kind of what you're doing with the getting into all the theatre with this, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think that the biggest thing for me is having an age-appropriate cast. The themes in the show are obviously very sensitive. We have a lot of mental abuse, kind of mental illness, sexual abuse. We have lots of different kind of subjects we want to be very sensitive about, make sure we do justice to. I know that with the cast we've got, we have a lot of people that are kind of just finishing school, so a lot of people that are experiencing the same issues as these characters in Spring Awakening. And the most important thing for me is that everything that they're experiencing in the 1890s is still very relevant to now, even though all of the problems that were there should really have been solved by now.
Yeah, and social media and the like seems to have made it a little bit worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are doing it traditionally set as it should be in the 1890s. However, obviously, when the characters go into song, it very much brings it into the modern kind of musical theatre world.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about the music very soon, but first let's meet some of the cast and find out about the parts that each of you play. Let's start then here with Lucy. Tell me a bit about who you are on the show.
So I play a girl called Marta Bessel, who is one of the girls in the village. She has a terrible relationship with her father and a very unhappy home life. As you've already said, it's not exactly a happy musical.
But even so, it is a musical of exploration, though, isn't it?
Yes, and definitely with the last number, which I think we might be performing later, it ends on a note of hope and a message that things can improve if we just embrace one another and talk to each other. And
spoilers out of the way there then, but how does your character interact with some of the group we have here?
Well, with Helen's character, she's not really a part of the main group of girls, but she is mentioned multiple times, and she's almost foreshadowing, I suppose, really what's happened. Marta is almost foreshadowing what's happened to Helen's character. But apart from that, the girls are just a relatively normal group of girls that hang out together.
Mm-hmm. So, tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so my character's called Ilse. She's supposedly, it doesn't definitely confirm, but hints with some of the songs. She had a bad relationship with her father as well, possibly abused in some way, and she's basically ran away from home, and she now lives in an artist colony. And the only time she's really in the show properly is actually in Act 2. You only really get to know her then, and she comes across very blasé about life, a little bit like carefree, but actually you get the impression that when she's at the artist colony, the same kind of things are happening there as well, so she hasn't really been able to move on from that. She's quite a sad character, really. She puts on a happy face, but she's not very happy.
But that
really
makes it more of a challenge when you're trying to play that sort of part, because you've got a smile on your face, so your situation is much better than hers.
Yes.
And to have that the happy but not happy look is quite, as I thought, challenging.
Yes, I think I found that very difficult actually in rehearsals. There's lots of styles of numbers and in the scenes where you're not allowed to smile, which I do find quite difficult. The whole show is completely different to what I've done before. I'm normally very jazz hands musical, but it's made it more fun, and I've enjoyed the challenge, and I'm hoping that when everything comes together, I'll be able to do Ilsa justice, I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fantastic. This lot have confidence in you, which is good. Right, I'm going to be rude and turn my back on you and move this end now. So, Joe, tell us a bit about your role.
So I'm playing Melchior Gabor. He is, the only way I can describe him is like an intelligent rebel. He sort of is the best at all his classes, like the best at school, but he sort of lacks care for all of them because he wants to search something like deeper in the meaning of like life. He feels that he's been boxed in by the community and that he doesn't know what he should know, so he reads as much as he can, and he sort of serves as this like massive intelligence throughout the show and telling all these characters all these things that you'd think you would have had to experience to know. So he talks about like intimate sex acts and all these sort of things, and he himself has never done any of them. He just reads them, and then he's like the main source of knowledge, which is really funny because he's like as clueless as everyone else.
But one point in the show, there's quite a very big scene whereby consent is given to something when somebody doesn't know what it is. They're probably signing up to there. So there's that, and then there's other areas of the show which at that time would have really pushed the boundaries talking about this sort of thing.
Yes.
I mean, what are your main characters' moments?
Well, Melchior, I'm not going to explain it in full, but Melchior has a certain relationship with another character called Wendler, and they sort of have this very strange relationship that's very like sexually orientated, but none of them really know what it actually is. So like there's moments where there's a lot of sexual tension, but they don't understand what that feeling is, so they're almost scared of it. And there's a scene at the end of Act 1, which I'm not going to say what it is, but something very quite big happens that neither of them really know what they're signing up for when they do it. They just know that they're kids and that they want to enjoy these impulses and not sort of hide them away. There's a line he says where it's like, if does a mayor like ignore every like feeling it's telling them until they're given a marriage certificate? And I think that really sums up Melchior's sort of view on the world, because he's like, do we just ignore everything we're told because we're told to ignore it, or do we just sort of explore it and try and learn ourselves and then have to sort of live with the consequences?
And it was kind of thought of, 1890s in the UK, it was Victorian times.
Yeah.
Germany was going through the start of what was going to be an interesting time for them at that point, and the way in which their society changed was significant. But were they as prudish as the mid-20th century? Probably not in many ways. So there is probably an area of liberation around what these kids would have been experiencing that wouldn't have been frowned upon in the way it was maybe 40 years later.
I think the nice thing with Spring Awakening is it really shows the difference between the adult and the sort of like, not children, but sort of teenager mindset, because the adults are very like closed door, don't talk about anything, you live by our rules are there, very much like the rules have been set for years, so that's the rules we stay by. And the kids, they just want to break out, they want to learn more, but they're sort of restricted by where they are and what time period it is and what the adults are willing to tell them. Like in the first scene, Wendler asks how babies are made, and the mum's like, love, and she and that's literally and that's it, there's nothing else to it, whereas we all know that that's not exactly how it goes down. And so a lot of problems arise because of that sort of thing and this misinformation that's said as like just the blanket truth.
I think a lot of what we've kind of played on is the theme of censorship. A lot of our marketing revolves around censorship, and the idea is that these children or students aren't given the tools that they need to survive in life. And there's an argument to be said, Richard's kind of played it in a way, our director, Richard Boynton, has played the show in a way that he's almost kind of showing how when the youth are censored like that and not given the tools they need to become adults, it can then backfire, and then it's almost the start of the generation, like you mentioned, of the early 20th century Germany, that could necessarily possibly been caused by this repression that they experience. So yeah, I think repression and censorship is a huge part of it. I mean, we've touched on kind of the sexual themes. It's not solely based around that. The idea of that is the fact that the show is real. It's for real people. It's for the fact that it highlights issues that everyone experiences. It's not gratuitous by any stretch of the imagination the way we're doing it. It's just highlighting things that people should be able to talk about and that aren't dirty little secrets. They are something that everyone goes through, and everyone should be given the tools to be able to kind of get by in life.
So tell us about your character then.
My character is Moritz Stiefel. Probably the most difficult character I've ever played in my short time in theatre. I don't want to give away too much, but Moritz is someone who tends to be loved by a lot of people in the sense that a lot of people can relate to him because he is stuck. He doesn't know where he fits in. He doesn't know how to act on these urges that he feels, and that leads to anxiety and eventually mental health issues that are explored within the show. The problem he experiences is that in today's world we can talk about that, but then we couldn't. And that manifests into something very, very dangerous for him.
And with all of this, as you mentioned, Richard is directing, and so the look of the show is important as well. So what can we expect costume-wise? Because we said it is in the 1890s.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So yeah, we've gone for the aesthetic. We've gone for we're staging it in traverse actually. So we've got 3 stage spaces. We've got one at either end, and then we have the aisle, which is kind of where most of the action will take place. In terms of the aesthetics, we're very much going with the period aesthetics for the dialogue. The costumes are all period costumes. And then as soon as the music comes on, obviously lighting-wise and kind of in terms of the general performance of the characters, it thrusts it into the modern world.
So musically then, what would you say the feel of the music was? It's a bit of a rock
absolutely,
event, isn't it?
It's a rock kind of concert feel to it, very vibrant, very electric. It kind of has undertones of Rent and musicals of that kind of style in it. So if you like those things, you'll like the music in this. But then it also has that contrast, which is very, very beautiful, very much textured by strings as well. There's a lot of strings in it that bring out a lot of the melody. It's not just a rock and roll show, it has a lot of beauty in it. And the vocal arrangements are the hardest I've ever come across. There's a lot of...
But a depth of characters that we talk about, Rent, but it's not really of the sound possibly, but the way in which the story's told is a very sort of different kind of tale. Okay, the girls have got quite some difficult areas to deal with in their characters' lives. There's challenges for the male characters as well, and it's probably much more about the interrelationships rather than the situation as much as anything else.
Yeah, it's an exploration of character. I mean, the best kind of way I describe it to people without giving away too much is an exploration of youth and rebellion and what happens if you're not equipped to deal with the sensations and the urges that you feel. And unfortunately, for some people, it can end up corrupting them or manifesting into something very dark and very upsetting, as it does in this.
Yeah. How do we hold the tickets then?
So the tickets are available on letmeinpresents.co.uk. They're also available on stmaryslichfield.co.uk. If you follow that link, the tickets are £18.50. They're available. It's Wednesday to Saturday show, 8 p.m. start, and yeah.
Come along, see it.
Yeah.
Be challenged by it, but enjoy the talent that's going to be on stage. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Break a leg. As we say, it is the 7th through to the 10th of August at St Mary's in the heart of Lichfield, and you can get your tickets, go along and enjoy a great cast exploring not only the story in the show, but also the wonderful world of acting and theatre as well. You will enjoy it. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks so much.
And so I wait, the swallow brings a song of what's to follow, the glory of the spring. The fences sway, the porches swing, the clouds begin to thunder, crickets wander murmuring, the earth will wave with corn. The day so white, so warm, and mares will neigh with stallions that they made, foals they born, and all shall know the wonder, and I will sing the song of purple summer, and all shall know the wonder. I will sing the song
That's just 4 of the 13 voices you'd normally hear singing that song in the production of Spring Awakening, which is coming to Lichfield St Mary's in August. I look forward to seeing the whole show very, very soon. Now is the time to get booking your tickets for the Story of Guitar Heroes. It's going to be at the Stafford Gatehouse on Sunday the 15th of September. To tell us more, I have the show's presenter and producer, Phil Walker. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. I trust we find you well.
I'm good, actually. Yeah, really good. We're very busy at the minute, just how I like it.
That's the way to do it. And obviously, it's a massive guitar show, but it all starts with the plectrum. And my first question is, how many plectrums do you own?
Do you know what? I don't know about how many I own, but I must lose about 20 per gig.
And these are great souvenirs if it's been played with on stage. And obviously, as your work in the world of guitars, it is second to none. And you've really lived the whole of this experience in the Story of Guitar Heroes, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 6. And it's a bit of a dream, really, to be played in the style of all my guitar heroes, So as much as people might enjoy watching it, trust me, I doubly enjoy doing it.
Well, because when it comes to the guitar, obviously, we do pick up on the sound of a band from not only the way the drum patterns work, the voice of the singer is obviously a giveaway, but the guitar is a signature for many, many different bands.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the sound of Queen, the sound of the Shadows. Without those iconic guitar sounds, it wouldn't be the same, would it?
When you come to approach a show like this, how does it come together when you're building the band for it? Because you guys must have been working together a while now.
Yeah, well, the show's on its 5th year this year, but I've known the other guitar player in the show for quite a long time. He's a real good buddy of mine. So when I came to put the show together, it was a no-brainer that I was going to use this guy. Toby James is a great guitar player and a great friend. And then we've actually got a new lineup this year with the bass player and the drummer. They're a couple of great guys. I've kind of wanted these guys in the show for quite a while, and when an opportunity came up to grab them, I thought, right, that's it. And it's gelling really, really well. It's great.
The show begins in the 1950s when the sound of the electric guitar was probably frowned upon by the older members of the community, and then was taken up by the youth, and that youth have kind of lived with it between now and then, and absolutely adored each of the different sounds that they've kind of got through their different generations.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think back, back into the 50s, people like Chuck Berry and Eddie Cochran, I mean, back then, those guitar sounds must have been, I suppose, what rave music must be to my parents nowadays. It's like, you got that real sort of, I mean, the songs are, they're quite tame compared to today's music, I suppose, but, some of the cheeky lyrics that were in there as well. And, a guitar solo back in the 50s must have been horrendous for certain people.
But when you're playing like this, I mean, you've got 20 guitars thereabouts that are going to be on stage. And is there a different sound from some of these guitars which is going to allow it? Or is it a lot of it done through pedals? And do you get to explain how that sound is actually made?
Well, yeah, I mean, although we're over 35 guitars now.
Wow, okay.
I don't know what happened there. We've picked a few up along
I think
the
you're
way,
addicted. That's what it is, Phil.
I think you might be right. But yeah, it's a lot of it does come from the guitar. For example, Hank Marvin played a red Fender Stratocaster. If you couldn't use any other guitar, apart from that. Brian May had his own homemade guitar, and if you used anything else but a replica of that, it wouldn't work. So, the guitar is a massively important part of what we do. And obviously we're not a Lucky Likey show. We don't wear wigs or dress up like any of the guitar players, but the guitar is the important part, and the sound of it is the important part. And we've got quite a lot of electronic wizardry that helps us along as well with the sounds. So it's technology and the old.
Yeah, but because you hit today's day and age, people are processing the sound that's coming from the guitar before it gets onto record, and sometimes that's difficult to recreate in real life. But when you come to the energy of the likes of Slash, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, all of whom you'll be sounding like on stage, that must be part of the driver for the show.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We get. I mean, we're really fortunate to be endorsed by a company called Line 6, who make incredible equipment. Modeling equipment that replicates the sound of all these guitar amplifiers. And we often do get people coming up to us at the end of the night saying, "Oh, do you not have the amplifiers on stage?" And we say, "Well, we don't use them," and they're gobsmacked because they can't believe that we don't use it. But that's technology now. You've got to hear it to believe it.
And it was something that in the past these guitar heroes absolutely had to work on and hone their skill. These days, as I say, you can recreate it without having 53 different amps on stage to play for each song. And it must be easier because often you'd see microphones stuck in front of a small amp on the stage to bring a bigger sound to the whole audience. And that has kind of changed, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, you can. It's funny enough. There's a tribute band down at my local theatre the other week, and they had big Marshall stacks on stage, but there was only one speaker mic'd up. So you think, well, that's all you need. That's all the public are going to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, blast it out, enjoy the sound, and make that guitar sing. So, what's your favourite in the show? You must have something you enjoy playing the most.
Oh, that's a really difficult one. It changes week by week, to be honest. I love playing the Dire Straits stuff. That's a different style. But then again, we do a little Brian May and Queen section towards the end of the night, and I really love playing the Queen stuff as well. So it's a really difficult one, really difficult. But I think I'm going through probably a Dire Straits phase this week.
Okay, well, we'll see how that goes. And they're really long songs as well. Queen, you can rattle something off in 2.5 minutes, but Dire Straits, you'll be there for half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. But the funny thing is, if you don't do the full version of certain songs, people feel a bit shortchanged by it. So
the good bits they added in were all the guitar solos, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I go into studios when I do a radio interview, and to be honest, all people are interested in, if I play Dire Straits, is take my guitar. Obviously, is just the fast bit on the end. Nobody's interested in the rest of it. It's just play the fast bit.
Well, it's going to be a night full of fast bits, slow bits, and amazing guitar work. It is the story of guitar heroes. It's at the Stafford Gatehouse Theatre on Sunday, the 15th of September. 01785 619080 is their box office number. StaffordGatehouseTheatre.co.uk to have a little look online and buy your tickets that way. But you can also check out storyofguitarheroes.com, and you've got stuff on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and all sorts, haven't you? So people can experience a bit of this before they come see the show.
Yeah. Search Story of Guitar Heroes, like you say, Instagram, Facebook, and it's on YouTube. It's Phil Walker Guitarist. So yeah, hit us up, subscribers, and like us, and whatever you do.
Sounds like a plan. Phil Walker, very much looking forward to the show, and we are going to enjoy having you playing your guitars, all 30 plus of them. Now, everybody's ears enjoy the sound of these guitar heroes.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Whatever you do, do it gently. I am lost, don't find me. I'm afraid, don't cover me. I'm angry, don't fix me. Sometimes in my alone, agony is my ecstasy. My moan is deep, rolling strong. Lay your head in my hand, safe at home in my bones. Pain, passion, soul, songs. Whatever you do, do it gently. I am lost, don't find me. I'm afraid, don't cover me. I'm angry, don't fix me. Sometimes in my alone, agony is my ecstasy. Each time it's the same. You happen to me all over again. I weep and win mutually. Both friends are my intimacy. Whatever you do, do it gently. I am lost, don't find me. I'm afraid, don't cover me. I'm angry, don't fix me. Sometimes in my alone, agony is my ecstasy. Agony is my ecstasy. Agony is my ecstasy. Whatever you do, do it gently. Whatever you do, do it gently. Gently.
This coming Thursday, Bilson will be doing its best to bloom as the judges will be in attendance from Britain in Bloom. To tell us more about what's going on, Simon Archer joins me. Hello, sir.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
All well here, and I take it you're feeling good and not suffering from hay fever due to the level of flowers we have in Bilston at the moment.
No. Luckily, I don't suffer from that, but a few of our volunteers do. But they're struggling manfully through. But yeah, we're all very excited and slightly apprehensive because Bilston hasn't entered Britain in Bloom for a few years. 2015 was the last time, so we've had a 4-year break, but we've come back better and stronger. We've got so many people getting involved this year, lots of organisations, lots of volunteers, schools, etc. So it's a big team effort from the people of Bilston.
So what's the level of success been like in the past?
They have had a gold in the past. The last time they entered, they had a silver gilt. But unfortunately, the people involved last time won't mind me saying this, they just hadn't got the support that they needed from either the city council, or they hadn't got the funding required really to do a really good job. And there were so few of them, they hadn't got time to do all the planting, weeding and so on that you need to do. And hold fundraising events. There was just not enough time and not enough people. But we've gathered the troops this time. We've got lots of people who've come forward through the magic of Facebook and word of mouth and various other means, emails, etc., begging and asking people to step forward, and thankfully they have.
So there's a great team. It's looking good. What do you do? How do you make it work? Obviously, silver gilt last time was brilliant. Gold in the past is fantastic. So how does that work? What are we looking out for as we make our way around Bilston?
Yeah, I think really it's just a case of initially identifying areas of the town that could do with a bit of TLC. There's a few pockets around Bilston that have not been looked after very well. For instance, along the Black Country route leading from the main car park in Pinfold Street to the market, there's a lot of litter there. So Nova Training have stepped forward and agreed to get their learners down there to clear that up. So that'll people see a big difference. The City Council have agreed to paint all the metalwork along there, so that's spruced it up a little bit. And the Nova Training guys are putting some floral displays along there as well, just as a finishing touch. So that's going to make a big difference. Hopefully people should really notice that that's been improved. And there's lots of little instances of that around the town, right by the town hall and Wolverhampton Homes. There's a group called Friends of Bilston Town Hall, and they've all sort of joined together and done various bits, took plants out, planted. They've even made a little water wheel full of plants, which looks really impressive. And the theme this year is water, which when you're 100 odd miles from the sea, and we haven't got a canal running through the centre of Bilston, that can be a little bit testing.
So you like a challenge?
We like it. We've had to be a bit creative, Jason, to be honest, in certain instances. But Loxdale School have made a whale feature,
Yeah.
which I haven't seen yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And there's various other bits and bobs. The British Legion have got a boat that they've acquired from somebody in Parkfields. You get all these weird and wonderful tales when you're doing Bloom. It's bizarre, but also very pleasing to see how people all come together.
Okay, great teamwork, great flowers. The town being looked after. So, anything else we can do from this point forward before the judges arrive on Thursday morning?
Well, I think if anybody's listening and they visit Bilson and they see a bit of litter on the floor, if they could pick it up and put it in the bin, that would probably save somebody a job and might just score us an extra point. But what we'd really like is for the listeners to come down to Bilston next Thursday. The judges are coming at 10 o'clock, but all the displays will be done and dusted sort of as of Wednesday night. So any time they want to come down to Bilston, it's market day as well, so they can come and pick a bargain up while they're there. Just come and have a look and, have a wander around the town and look at all the wonderful things that we've done. There's a flower show in St Leonard's Church, which will be open all day. And there's various other bits and bobs. People will be able to spot them quite well. Just come and have a wander around and have a look at all the lovely flowers and the displays that people have created.
And can we see more in the Facebook group as well then?
You will. We have got a Facebook page and there'll be lots going on there. We haven't put too much on yet because we're just a little bit nervous that some of the unsavoury characters of the town might come and help themselves to some plants. So we've been a little bit cautious, but we'll start letting that go early next week and really making people know what's going on.
So keep an eye out for it. Check it all out on Bilston in Bloom on Facebook. But for now, Simon Archer, thank you for joining us and keep up the good work and making sure
Thanks.
Bilston's on the map.
Thank you very much. Lovely. Speak to you soon.
That's a lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Back with episode 525 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar.